Yeah, okay, that's difficult.
You have some opening words?
Me? I don't have opening words, no.
Something wise.
Your words are fine.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Boker Tov. Boker Tov in Hebrew means good morning. Boker Tov.
Okay.
Tov is good, Tov. It's in the first chapter of Genesis. God said a few times, Tov. He was pretty happy with what he has done. He was a little narcissistic in the beginning. I want to go back a little bit about some of the terminology and some of the introduction that I shared with you last week. So the material that we are looking at, for those of you who have not been here last week, is our different Torah portions in the Bible. You're all familiar with the Torah portions. You know that the 5 books of Moses are divided into Torah portions, and every week in our calendar we attack another portion and hopefully try to understand the meaning for our days of that Torah portion. I also mentioned that this is the commentary of the Hasidic movement. Hasidic movement, middle of the 17th century and 18th century. There was a need to refresh some of the teachings of the different Torah portions. And so those are commentaries of the students of the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov, the master of good name, that's what his name is. Shem is name, Tov is what? Good. So his name, I'm sure he had a different name, but no one called him by the original name, the way he was brought up. But his image and his theory and his teachings are known as the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, the master of a good name, which basically is what we are required to do after we die. Hopefully all of us will leave a good name, Shem Tov. And so most of his teaching was oral. Nothing was written by him. His pupils, his students, his small circle of students, and then that circle grew up to hundreds of thousands, and this became a serious movement that is still functioning until today, the Hasidic movement. And I mentioned, for example, one of the representative of that movement in town is the Rabbi Mendel Katzman. So Rabbi Mendel Katzman is a continuation of 17th century philosophy and theology. It's basically Orthodox, but Orthodox with joy, Orthodox with happiness, Orthodox with dancing. And hopefully you have seen some movies that are about Hasidic movement, and Hasidic Filmstream just had one of those movies. And you see their style, their life, their happiness. Each of them has 12 children. And they are basically the Catholics of the Jews. That movement was almost totally annihilated in the Holocaust. So we're talking about Poland and White Russia and that area around. And basically, there was a population of 3 million Jews in Poland. 95% of those Jews were annihilated during the Holocaust. So that movement still found a way to resurrect itself and continuing some of the teaching of the Baal Shem Tov, because it comes not only with commentary of the Torah, but it comes in a way of life. Those are the people dressed with black coats in the middle of the summer, which we all feel sad and sorry for them. But this is their uniform. They are definitely distinguished. They have rabbis or tzaddiks as the head of the of the movement, and they are divided into courts. So it depends when you are, from what little village in Poland you came, you are always named as the village. So, for example, you have the Lubavitcher Hasidic, you have the Bobov Hasidic, you have the Braslav Hasidic. Those are all names of towns that don't exist anymore, but they came from there and they continue the tradition of the Hasidic movement. Now, I also taught you some terms that are going to accompany us through the next few weeks. For example, that the world was created from where? So first was the Torah, and the Torah was the blueprint of God in the creation of the world. I mean, it's a concept that you need to adapt. I know it's strange, but God had a blueprint, and carefully, because of that blueprint, he was capable of creating what we have around us, this world. And then there were some other terms. Garb. You remember what was garb? Oh, come on, just a week. That world, the Hasidic world, saw in every object and every thing that is around us as creation of God. God is in everything. I mentioned God is in the chair, God is in the table, God is in the vacuum cleaner that just was used by your wonderful clergy to vacuum this floor. I'm not belittling God now, but I want you to accept the notion that in front of you here in this room, not only the people are a creation of God, but everything else here, every material object, or every things that is here, the clock, the pillars, everything needs to be viewed as a potential for the appearance of God. This takes a lot of training, because how many times we go through our life, through our day, not paying attention to anything around us. This calls for paying attention, having the eyes open and seeing in everything in the world as part of the creation of God. Now, how bizarre is this for you to hear? Not really, is it? If you are willing to accept the notion that God is everywhere, then what's the problem? Of course, people come before all the rest of the objects, but everything that exists around us has a purpose, has a divine purpose in it, and the goal of our study and learning and investigating is to create an ability to see it and to see God's work through it. So those objects around us are their vehicles that contain the message of God, but it is difficult for us to accept that. That's why they appear in a structure of a chair. Chair, we understand. It's a chair. It's a table. What is hard to understand is how is this serving any purpose of God's creation. Why? And this comes how the world was created according to the Hasidic, mystical, Kabbalistic view. God, in God's love for us, was capable of shrinking God's self, and in the space that was created in the world, empty of God, God created the world. Now, her idea, or whatever, was wonderful. Except there was a need to empty the space that was vacated, which was full of light, full of the original light of creation. By the way, what we have now, the light we see here, is dimmed. It's not the original light of what was creation. There was an amazing, brilliant light that only extremely righteous individuals can witness it, which, of course, great trick on the part of God to try to make all of us more righteous than we are, isn't it? Oh my God, I can't see the light. I can't see the original light. Wow, we love this light. Just try to imagine this light 1,000 times brighter, brilliant. The light of the creation was dimmed as a result of what? Some of our actions. I mean, humanity was capable in our great wisdom to dim some of the light. So, of course, we need to continue looking for that light. So now that light that he vacated from the space, that light went into vessels. And then some kind of an accident took place. You can call it whatever you want. And the vessels were shattered. And the light disappeared, spread all over the world. Now, the phrase in Hebrew, tikkun olam, the mending of the world, we use the word tikkun. Tikkun is to mend. The purpose of our existence is to try to capture the original light from the shards that are mixed with the light. That's our difficulty. The difficulty is that that light is not available for us just to go and capture it. It's mixed with the material shards, and our goal is to try to free the light from the material, free the light from the shards, and bring it back into the original space where the light was. Tikkun olam, olam means world. Tikkun, mending. Mending the world means that our goal in life is to search for those sparks. And we do it in all kinds of ways. For example, this study session, maybe it's capturing something. The way we behave with each other releases some of the sparks. The way we help in the world, the way we are involved with other people, the way we are building the Tri-Faith initiative, all this has potential of securing those sparks, releasing them from the material, from the daily world of ours, and putting it back together. Which means we'll never be able to do it. So what? So what? So failure is built into this, but we are required to do this. So all the social services, the way we behave with immigrants, there are hundreds of thousands of ways to redeem those sparks. And the goal is for us to do it, because we all believe that the story of creation is not over. If the story of creation is continuing, then we need to be partners with God in freeing those sparks that God did because of the love for us, for God to shrink himself and allow for us to be created. It shows the amazing love that God has for us. I mean, actually, I think sometimes he has regrets. Sometimes I can see this happening on a regular basis, like every minute of every day. Oh my God, what did I do? What?
Oh me.
Oh me. Yeah, there's no difference between God's narcissism and Donald Trump. I mean, so it's oh me. It's all about me. I'm sure God has still potential for growth. Yeah, I totally believe in it. Those are some of the phrases from last week, and now we're going to another Torah portion. one of the most so just because we didn't finish the material from last week doesn't mean we are behind. That's your job. Your job is to take the material at the end of the Monday and continue reading on your own. I'm giving you some tools that hopefully will help you understand, and if not, come and ask the next week. So I'm open for questions. The first few minutes, ask me if there are any questions about what you just heard or from the material from last week. Anything that you guys couldn't sleep the whole week because of that. Yeah, yes, please.
So could you argue that God is a table of elements in chemistry?
Absolutely. Yeah, totally.
And so the Star Wars trick where Luke Skywalker gets in touch with the Force, and the Force is all of creation and all the elements of creation, and the spirit of life that comes from that is kind of close to the truth.
I think that the entire series of those movies is all about that. Very deep. It'll be nice to go together to the movie and then turn the lights on and have a conversation about this. I think it's one of the most theological, religious series of movies that were created. And but you need to be religious, and you need to be in touch with God to be able to see this. But so the whole theology is dressed with a garb, because we also have popcorn while we're watching it. What I'm suggesting is that although it seems to be a movie from Hollywood, from I'm sure a producer that maybe did not make a pass at any woman, it looks like a movie, and you pay $6 for this or $7, I don't know. But there is truth there in that movie that one needs to perceive and understand. Yeah. Yes?
Is what you are talking about this morning just from the Hasidic, or is it all of Judaism?
Yeah, but Judaism has developed. So mystical or Kabbalistic Judaism is something that was just introduced to us on the 16th century. And 16th century happened yesterday.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is that it's a branch. That's why my argument with Madonna. Madonna is into Kabbalah. She even has a name, a Jewish name. And she goes to Israel to pray. And she thinks that this is all. No, Kabbalah is only a branch of a huge trunk that is called Judaism that has all kind of branches. So there's philosophy and history and the Torah and the Talmud and the Mishnah. You have so many branches. So I think you need to look at the whole grain of the trunk of what it is in order to perceive what Judaism is. So Judaism is what I'm teaching, but Judaism is hundreds of other things that are called Judaism, including the deli across the street. Yeah, a good pastrami sandwich is essential for many Jews. Many Jews are Jews because of gastronomic needs. And they're all in real estate because they all are thinking about the grave at the end, a piece of grave in the cemetery. So you have different kind of Jews doing different things. And all is accepted. All is God.
But
And, not but, and,
at Temple Israel,
yeah.
would most of the members know much about what you're talking about, or is this so mystical that you've got to move on?
I think that most of the members will have an idea about what I'm talking about. The people that definitely came to the classes and continue like you, I admire all of you for this adult education option that you guys are taking. There are so many things to do on Monday morning besides study. So it depends what level the members are. We have people that remained on the infantile level of education that after the bar mitzvah or bat mitzvah disappeared. That was enough for them, age 13. And then we have people who are 85 who never missed a class that I taught or the other rabbi teaches. So, but this is true about everyone. Yeah. I admire all of you for getting out of the bed this morning. No, I mean, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. That's the only way to discover more and more about what God is. By the study, by the text. Yes?
I think what she means, and I'm still a little fuzzy too, is what you're talking about, this theory of creation and everything, is this accepted by Reform, Orthodox, and Hasidic Jews? Do they all believe this theory, or is there differences between the different?
Well, this is something, I said again, this is something that developed to a large degree on the 17th, 18th century teaching. Looking at the Torah portion, you see, the wonderful thing about Judaism is that every week we address another Torah portion, but we do it constantly. So every Torah portion in the Bible has hundreds of thousands of commentaries. Every week we look at the same Torah portion that we looked year before, and we discover new lessons, new meanings. So it's a tree of life. The Torah is called a tree of life. Why? Because it gives us life. It gives us understanding. Oh, that's why it's such an important project of being able to look at the same Torah portion every week and discover different things. Depends on how our life is. So do they know about this? I think there is a knowledge. Do they go into it? It's a lot more complicated than what I'm trying to give you some grounds so you don't think it's an earthquake. There's a lot more to that. I mean, there are people that are constantly dealing with this, still developing this idea. And so, yeah, it's similar to, correct me, Chris, I mean, there are also Christianity, the Christianity that you are exposed to in this place is very different than what really Jesus was doing. If Jesus or Moses walked into our respected houses of worship, they will die from a heart attack. They will need a few ambulances to rescue them. What I'm saying is that every religion, do all the people in this church know exactly everything? I mean, so I think it's what the people are yearning to know. And the study is the only way to be able to develop those kind of horizons. You guys okay with questions? Okay. I wanted to go to the second one. So this is one of the most important Torah portions that always requires commentary. That's the call to Abraham. Abraham, that is the figure, the character, the patriarch that unites all of us. There are questions about this. Why Abraham? What are other questions? What do you remember from the story about Abraham that raises questions? Why him? How come it wasn't Noah? Noah was a few weeks ago. Actually, last week, Torah portion. Noah was a character. Why not Adam? So, we Jews answer a question with a question always. Why not? You know, why Abraham? What was wrong with Noah? Okay, so what was wrong with Noah? What is the Noah? It says in the text, Noah was a righteous person in his generation. He was not such a great guy. In his generation, he was above average. That's why Noah didn't get it. I mean, for him to build an ark without inviting any neighbors in, come on. You know the Bill Cosby routine about Noah. It's fantastic. Try to find it on YouTube. I'm sorry that it's Bill Cosby, but you know, Okay. Not my favorite person in the world. Abraham is considered the first progenitor of everything that comes after. So here he is going into the Torah portion about Abraham, about the selection of Abraham. And look at the second page where it says Me'or Enaim number 2. So there are no page numbers here. So it's not number 1. Look at number 2. Do you see it?
Yes.
So, of course, every commentary starts with what? The verse. The verse that is problematic. Get yourself out of your land, and I will make you a great nation. What is the problem?
Where?
What is the problem that the commentator will try to address? Just don't look further. Just tell me. Read again the verse.
What's wrong with his own country?
Yeah, where he's at won't work.
Beautiful. What? I need to get out to create a big nation? Well, I can do it here. I'm having a cup of coffee. I can do it here. Why do you drag me all the way to another location?
That was the main argument for the traffic.
Yeah.
What's the matter?
Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now you're going to hear the answer. Now you're going to hear the answer that maybe you never heard. What is it about uprooting oneself and moving?
A new outlook.
A what?
You have a new outlook on the world and new experiences and a new way of doing things,
Or not?
or not.
Yeah, or not. Some people move and nothing happens.
But it can unbalance you so that you have to look beyond yourself.
Beautiful. It gives you the option. It gives you the option. If your eyes are open and you, again, remember what I said before, that the eyes have to be open because everything is garbed. And the reason why everything is garbed is because we cannot handle the truth. We cannot handle the truth. Or we cannot handle the light that will emanate from whatever we see. The light is too strong because it's part of the creation light, which is different than this light. And therefore, we need to pay more attention. So this is exactly where this is going to start. So at the bottom of the page, who would like to volunteer in reading? Please. Yes. From nothing is impossible.
Second page.
Second,
Yeah. The bottom, the last 2 lines.
nothing is impossible for the Creator.
Yes, God can do everything. Go on. So therefore, go on.
Could He not have made him a great nation right there in his own country?
Yeah. God can do anything. So what's the difficulty? So continue, please.
God conducts the world by means of 7 qualities.
Wow. Okay. So, an essential part of Kabbalah are those 7 qualities. Let's hear it.
These are represented by the 7-day cycle of the world, known also as the cosmic days, or days of the construct.
So those 7 days of creation are known in the Kabbalistic language, in the Kabbalistic theology, as the days of construct. Those are the days, the 7 days in the beginning of Genesis, are not just God. Wow, I love this music in the beginning. It's okay. Those 7 days are not just a simple day of what God did every day. Every day was a treasure to a larger piece of creation that we cannot understand. I mean, just because he said it's good, what is the meaning when God says it's good? What is the meaning of the separation between water and water? What is the deeper meaning of land and the animals and all the creeping things that were created? Those are not just a little bit of the Dorley Zook celebration of creation of animals. There's meaning to every day. Every day is a cosmic day that some amazing things happen. And not only things about creation, but even further than creation. but it was given to us in a very simple way. I mean, we all know what was created. We can read the chapter, but there is more to the chapter of creation than what we understand. We couldn't handle the whole story of what happened every day. But cosmic events took place, and we couldn't relate to this, so that's why it's given in chapter 1 and 2 of Genesis the way it's given. How can we understand the creation of the Sabbath? What is the meaning of the creation of the Sabbath? What is the meaning of the creation of Adam and Eve? There is more learning to do, and that's what they are going to do now. Okay, let's continue.
They begin with
Chesed,
chesed,
which is in English love or compassion. So God used seven words, 7 terms to create the world, and the world started being created with the measure of chesed, which is love. I'm sure you heard chesed. I know for sure that both of your clergy used the word chesed in this church. Okay, continue.
of which Scripture says, the world is built by chesed.
Yeah, if you don't believe it, go to Psalm chapter 89, verse 3, and you'll see the word chesed. The world was created with a measure of chesed. Continue.
Just as the world is conducted by means of these 7 days, so must the person who serves God be a microcosm in whom these qualities are implanted.
Wow. So what are we doing here? We are in a way a microcosmos of all of the measures that God created the world with. It's in us. It's in us. So the 7 days are not about just creation of the world. It's about us possessing those measures to be able to continue the unfolding story of creation. Creation is now on us. Creation is on us. How are we doing?
Not so well.
Need work.
What?
Need work.
Needs work, yes.
Two things. I learned that Hesed meant unconditional love.
Okay.
I mean, which helps me to understand that, or do you
The what?
disagree? Or do you disagree? That means that God doesn't, that God doesn't expect, I don't want to say anything in return, but that he loves us, and he loved us first.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, because, I mean, why would God shrink himself and allow for us to be here? He did it out of great love.
Yes.
Yeah, totally.
And
Now,
the fact that,
but I want to push the envelope a little bit here. What do you mean it's not no expectations from us?
no, I said I don't think that that's what it means, that he has no expectation, but that he didn't start this because of our demands, our requirements.
I totally agree.
And the other thing is, the world being built by Hesed, and what he started Abraham off with, it says blessed to be a blessing.
Yeah,
So that we are to carry this love forward. We are.
absolutely. Beautiful. Yeah, totally.
Thank you.
You'll see it in the continuation. I just, well, chesed is one word. Unconditional is not attached to that. I just want to make sure that there's a love there that is always. I just feel that going around and feeling the love, sorry, feeling the love and then not doing anything in return, it's a little bit challenging.
Yes, well, I didn't really mean that.
I know, okay.
But our worthiness is not based on what we do, but rather that God loved us first, and that makes us worthy to be better in the world.
Of course, yeah. So the whole story of creation is because of the love. We have a cantor here singing. I love it.
She's working on it. She's working on it.
But I think it's important to understand the sacrifice that God has done for our sake. God did not have to do it. So definitely there's a love that came first, and then we came because of that. All right, let's continue. Yes?
You said God did not need to do that, but isn't that who God is? Didn't God have to create us to be God?
Yeah, now we'll become philosophical, yeah. I mean, I think we are the best public relation that God has. Without us, he's nothing. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My God, we talk so much about God. All the time we talk about God. Sometimes we talk too much about God and not enough about humanity. Sometimes we are obsessed with God and we have wars about God and we try to analyze what God is. So, deep teaching in Judaism is that the only way you talk about God is with negative terminology, what God is not. Because every time you talk about God, you put him in a box. You put him or her in a box. So the way to talk, Maimonides, 12th century philosopher, said the only way to talk about God is with negative terms, what God is not. It's easy to understand what God is not than what God is. Don't put God into boxes by your definitions. I think it's a wonderful way to look at this.
But the whole 7 qualities of Kabbalah are an affirmation of who God is, right?
Absolutely.
So that's in the affirmative, not the negative.
That's why Maimonides was not a Kabbalistic stuff. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Let's continue.
Just as the world is conducted by means of these 7 days, so must the person who serves God be a microcosm in whom these qualities are implanted. In us they take the form of love, awe, glory, and the rest. Our lives must be conducted in accord with them. Every person is given a choice. We may turn these qualities any way we like, even though they flow from the highest place, as love is rooted in sublime chesed. They may be used for good or ill. We receive them in a fallen state, each containing a mixture of good and evil.
Yeah. So again, the power of the 7 days, those 7 days are implanted inside of us, and we have those qualities, but it's up to us, we who are in a fallen state, to use them for good or for evil. They're available. How can you turn the measure of love to become negative? Withholding love. I mean, those are wonderful qualities. The question is, what do you do with them? Look at how many terms we have. We have tough love. What is tough love? I mean, we raise our children sometimes. At some moments, we love them dearly. I love the grandchildren more than my own kids. Definitely. Oh, no question about it. No question about it. I mean, there's a way of taking the measure of love and use it in a way that is leading to hate.
Yeah, manipulative.
Manipulative, yeah. Yes?
What does the term "we receive them in a fallen state" mean?
Fallen state that we are humans and we are not God, and only God acts with those measures in a way that is uplifting, positive. God knows how to use it correctly. We are sometimes stumbling of the usage of those 7 qualities.
So how do you compare that to the concept of original sin?
I'm happy with the phrase fallen state. I don't want to go into original sin now. which is definitely clear that something went wrong in the story of creation. Actually, it was a blessing that we got kicked out of there. I, by the way, always felt that east of Eden is very close. We just took a break for a while and got out. And we are trying constantly to go to the state that was originally intended for us to be.
Isn't important with your choice?
Choice, yeah,
There's
definitely.
been lots of debate
Definitely.
about will. You know, did God give us the
Well,
will?
yeah.
I think in the Christian theology, there's been a lot of debate about
About what?
will of,
Free will.
are we just here stumbling through some kind of something that's already fate, that we're already fated, or do we have a choice?
So, is there a free choice in the theology you're teaching here?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
totally. I mean, this was a price to pay for not being there. It was so easy, so infantile to be in paradise. I mean, the story is fascinating. They are, by the way, that story of just the exit from, I call it the exit, I never called it a fall. I don't want to think about falling. Anyone wants to think about falling? We try to rise. There's so many commentaries and so many stories about this. So I need a second reader. From This Is What? Yes, please, anyone? Loud.
This is what our worship is all about, to purify these qualities within us from their own evil, raising them up to God as we use them in His service.
So what is the purpose of prayer? Why do we pray? Why do we come here yesterday? I know you came for the rabbi.
He told us why we pray.
Yeah. we do.
What?
He told us why we pray.
Beautiful. So what is the essence of why we pray here?
Purify ourselves.
Purify.
Beautiful. It's communication, but it's for our sake. It's to try to put the words that we recite into actual meaning. So, for example, if I pray, Baruch atah Adonai, blessed are you, our God, ruler of the universe, who dress the naked. Am I praying this for God? God does it anyway. I'm thinking at that moment of what? There are people in this town that maybe are naked of essential possessions like food. I mean, so anything you pray, every sentence you pray to God, it's about you resurrecting those sparks inside of you and raising them up. Every time a person prays is an attempt, if the prayer is done in sincerity, to capture the sparks and set them up. Because all of them need to end up at the cosmic light that was diminished as a result of the creation. Continue.
This comes about by means of insight. When a bad form of love or fear comes to you, you must look upon it and tremblingly say in your heart, this love has fallen from the world of love, from the love of our blessed Creator. It is my task to raise it up. How then can I do an evil act that will cause it to fall still farther? If I find my love energies aroused by this forbidden object, a lowly material creature, how much greater should my love be for God and His Torah, through whom all being was created? He is the joy of all joys.
I mean, wow. Why would I continue doing whatever evil things I'm doing, and by that even going lower and lower and lower into the world that is not serving God, and it's not serving me? So when you pray, you have to be conscious of what the prayer is about and how you want to continue rising. It's about rising. It's not about falling. Prayers goes up. You need to go up. You need to find a way to bring back the attributes that are positive and unique. Yes?
A question about evil and love. You know, some people feel like evil is a force that's literally attacking love. And
they call it by name sometimes.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. The devil made me do it.
Yeah.
Wow. It's so easy. The devil did it. What are you talking about? It's inside of you. That's why Judaism doesn't talk about that kind of. We in Judaism, we don't see the evil as a force. Although if I am involved in mystical understanding, I can always say that it's garbed, evil is garbed, and they found Satan or the devil. So the devil and Satan are a creation of us because we can handle the evil inside of us.
what do you think of the definition of evil as just simply the absence of love?
I love it. I use the word love to tell you. Yeah, the absence of love. A quality that needs to be diminished, destroyed, annihilated. Yes?
What about those people who are mentally, their brain is damaged, and they are narcissistic, and they are,
Yeah.
I feel sad about them.
doing those horrible things out there.
Yeah.
They can't fight that impulse because of the way they're wired.
And because the health insurance doesn't cover mental health.
Right. But I think of, things, people like Charles Manson, and that to me is evil. Is that person, what happened was evil. Is that person innately evil, or is that person good, but just with essence, with problems with their brain and their...
I think that person is evil. And we need to eradicate that as soon as possible. Something, I feel sad and sorry, and I would like to help those kind of people, but what they're doing is evil.
So that is our evil on earth, are those people who are like...
But why do you go to those extremes to describe
I'm just
evil?
trying-
Evil.
I'm just-
Evil is two people sitting here not paying attention to each other's pain. Evil is, I think sometimes we tend to go to those amazing demonstrations of evil,
That's what I'm
of terrorists, but I think we need to bring it down to us. Because evil...
We have that evil inside us, so we could commit that evil with every day. Things that we do every day could be evil.
An evil response to someone, instead of saying words of love, that's evil.
When someone cuts you off in traffic saying, God...
Yeah, there's definitely...
Instead of saying, God bless you, saying, God...
Or that person that cut you maybe woke you up because you didn't pay attention.
So seeing the good in an evil act.
Absolutely. I think there is... God exists also in the evil in this world. For me, I don't need to have another creature that I never understood this. The need of some religious groups to create a character as Satan or the devil. In Judaism, good and evil comes from God. If God is the creator of the world and God is responsible for everything, I give him responsibility also on evil. Because in Judaism, after the Holocaust, we created a theology that said the following, that at the gas chamber, God also was gassed. God was there in every place where Jews were brought to the crematorium. God was there in a corner. God needs to be responsible for that too.
Do you feel God cries?
Totally. Why not?
He made us to cry.
Yeah, I don't have any difficulty in... I think maybe the rain is when he cries. I don't know. It's a very childish idea, but How do we know what rain is?
One other question.
Please.
What do you say to people who say that everything that's happening in the world today is because God is angry at everyone in the world and he is causing these things to happen?
No.
How do you
It's-
respond to someone like that?
First of all, I don't talk to them. I don't. I know that's evil on my part for not addressing people. No, I mean, you know what? I'm 68 now. I'll have a birthday next in December. I'm done. I'm done with this kind of. I mean, there's a limit to the dialogues that I'm willing to go to.
Jack Spong.
A what?
Oh, Jack Spong, Bishop Spong said that about
Yeah. A
theologically.
wonderful,
arguing.
wonderful mentor. I read all his books. He's an amazing man. Enough already. We need to connect to the good people in the world. We need to build something instead of destroying everything. It's so wonderful to get older. It's great. It helps when we are in good health.
So figure it out on your own.
Yes, I'm not going to talk to him anymore. You can't talk to him.
I'm the good guy.
He said, don't talk to him, so I'm not going to talk to him. I'm hitting that old age.
I think this is such a terrible pessimism. I am optimistic. I think all Jews basically are optimistic. It's in our DNA. It's amazing to think that we're still here. Think about this. You know what kind of a feeling it is to be able, against all odds, to still be here?
Yes.
But that feeling should not lead to some kind of a superiority complex. That feeling should lead to rolling the sleeves and getting involved in the mud and creating a better world. And I have constantly challenged my people. I mean, for my people, for example, not to come, some of them, not to be in favor of immigration is unbelievable. It's unbelievable. I have arguments constantly about that. What do you mean you don't want immigrants? What do you mean you want to close the doors? Think about where we were, and the doors were closed, and that's how we lost so many people. So what are you talking about anti-immigrant notions? And I mean, when you're a Jew, you have to argue with the Jews. You can't let them off the hook. And that's why I love retirement. I still do it. I find a way to energize and anger many people, which is great. That's my task. When I came to this town, I told them, I mean, they asked me, they couldn't handle in Israeli. Think about this. For my people to accept me as a rabbi, they stretched themselves a lot. Because the rabbis before me were tall, spoke pure English, were not handicapped. They were the perfect priest. That's why I have difficulty with that chapter in Leviticus, that the priest cannot have any kind of damage. And they took me as a rabbi. They were completely crazy. So that gave me a permission to stretch them more. And I told them that I'm going to make those that are comfortable irritated, and those that are not comfortable more comfortable. That's all. That's the role of the clergy. That's what you guys do here so well. So well. Okay, next paragraph, please.
Deal similarly with all the other qualities as they arise. You should be too much in awe of God to use the king's own scepter, your sense of fear, to arouse his anger, rebelling against God, as though he does not see.
Wow. Maybe we should stop rebelling against God. Just accept God into our life. I think we're spending too much with those arguments about what God is, as if we know anything. I love those radio talk shows. I love those. I watch religiously those preachers on Sunday. I love it.
It gives you a sense of superiority.
They know everything. They have especially those who are suggesting that the world will be destroyed, therefore fill the plate this Sunday. I also am jealous of the crowd that they are trying. Totally jealous. Continue, please.
When any one of these qualities or emotions wells up within you, even if it is manifesting in a negative or superficial way, take it as an opportunity to bind yourself to the same quality as it exists within God.
Wow. You know, those emotions, those qualities come and go from inside of us. So even if you have something, even if you have a bad emotion about God or about another human being, try to work with it. Concentrate on that feeling, even if the feeling is not positive, is not a feeling of goodness. Work on this. It's in you, and you can be able to work with some of those qualities in order to get to a better place, to a higher level. Remember again what I mentioned last time about the stairways, about the pipes that connect you to the Almighty, about the all. The whole idea is to try to rise on the steps, on the ledger. It's all about climbing up the ledger. Where are we? We need to ask ourselves constantly, where am I in the relationship? What rung am I stepping on now? Or maybe I went down. It's what was the name? Shoots, letters. What was the name of the game? Shoots and letters. This is the philosophy. Very simple. You play with the dice, and you don't know what happens. And you are almost at the end, and then you go all the way down. There was a brilliant game to teach theology. How many people use it for theology? No one! I think you have grandchildren, play that game and speak about God. There's a way of turning that game into absolutely the theology that is there. The Hasidic interpretation of the theology. You better watch where you are. So are people here almost at the top?
Probably not.
That was a rhetorical question. Let's continue.
Then you are raising up all that has fallen to its root. God has no greater joy.
God has no greater joy than seeing us climbing up and collecting the sparks. God actually reacts to our collection. At the end of the day, what do we have in our bag of tricks? How many of those sparks we picked up at the end of the day? How do I bring light at the end of each day of my life that is a little bit higher and brighter and meaningful? So, for example, on Kol Nidre, on the evening of Yom Kippur, the Day of Atonement, there is a phrase very soon after some people bring the Torahs in front of the congregation. So you have a moment where people that were selected or people that are there take all the 4 Torahs. We have 4 Torahs in our ark. They bring the Torahs. By the way, you can't do a Torah into plural Torahs. I made a mistake. Torot. So in Hebrew, the plural of one Torah is Torot. But in English, Torahs. You say Torahs. It's like the movie, Torah, Torah, Torah. So they take the 4 Torot and introduce them in front of the people. Everyone is standing, and at that moment the cantor sings, Or Zarua la Tzadik Ulishre Lev Simcha. And the line means, Or is light, Or Zarua, a light is spread over the righteous, and it brings happiness to every heart. That's the most amazing, and the or that is mentioned there, the light, is the cosmic light that got diminished. So this amazing moment of taking those scrolls out, dressed in white, because we changed the color of the dressing for Yom Kippur, for the Day of Atonement, and everyone is standing, and that's what she sings with the choir in the background. Because at that moment, the potential of capturing all the sparks is available. So basically, every day, at the end of the day, not a bad idea before you go to sleep, to think about the collection of sparks. How did I advance the appearance of the cosmic light back to my life and to the life of other people? That's what that philosophy is. So now we're going back to Abraham because they need to deal with Abraham now. Please, next chapter, next paragraph.
Abraham, our father, held fast to that quality of chesed until he became known as Abraham, my lover.
Yeah, if you open Isaiah chapter 41, verse 8, there's a phrase that says, Abraham, my lover. Wow. So Abraham was that character that understood the love that is coming from God. That's why he was selected. That's why Noah was not selected. By the way, what did Noah do after the flood was over? Got drunk. Can you trust Noah with, can you imagine Noah, the father of the tri-faith? You have Muslims that don't drink. I mean, come on. Abraham had the right qualities. That's why God waited a few generations to select Abraham to be that patriarch. Go on.
It is with chesed, love, that we need to begin the repair of our inner qualities.
Wow. You want a tool? The tool is called love. Love is the tool that will repair all our qualities. Go on.
God wanted Abraham to go forth among the nations of the world, where those qualities existed in a deeply fallen state. He was sent especially to Egypt, of which it is written, their issue is like that of horses.
In Ezekiel chapter 23, verse 20, look at what was the view of what Egypt is. I mean, that's why in the next few weeks I'll bring the Exodus to your attention. Because Egypt is a lot more than Egypt.
Yeah.
Egypt is the darkness inside us. It was easy to get the Jews out of Egypt. It was impossible to get Egypt out of the Jews. That's why they continue rebelling against Moses, who had difficulty of managing his own anger. He definitely needed a therapist for anger management on the part of Moses. Their issue is like that of horses. Continue.
An over-sex society. Abraham, master of love, had to descend to their level in order to uplift the love that had fallen there.
Guys, sometimes we really need, in order to help our friends, our communities, to go down. In order to go up, you have to go down. So sometimes the evil that we detect with people or the bad characters, it is possible that they need to be where they are now. So evil is not totally bad, because evil can lead to goodness. Maybe you need to get to a very low step in order to understand how to rise. How many times in our lives we're in the dump, and then by God's love and by a lot of work on our part, we come out. Yes?
Does that mean try to place ourselves in the same circumstances or situation that that person is in? Or does it mean that we commit evil so that they can see us do it and think that we are like them?
Oh my God. No, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please. That's really a scary idea. But But I think that's why the mentoring, the role modeling is important. I think, I don't want you to go so low, because then what is the benefit of knowing you? How can you help me? Don't come to my level. Help me come to your level. So instead of digging a hole under a person, we should try to help them build a little mountain underneath them. But we love to judge people. Oh my God. We judge everything. Who gives us permission to judge people? Who? What is this voyeurism about us of having opinion about everyone and judging everyone? Why can't we stay with who we are? Living people, helping people, instead of judging. Why can't you love everyone? What is so difficult in loving everyone instead of judging everyone? Judging requires so much energy. Oh my God. From the way you gossip about someone to the way you... I love that sound. It's all about that sound. I mean, what kind of a world we're going to live for that sound? What are we doing in this world? We all started with a cry like that. All of us. In Jewish tradition, we try to explain everything, including the little, how do you call this, under the nose? Indentation under the nose. We're just obsessed with it. So this is the spirituality in that. So when we are born with all the knowledge that we need. At that moment, an angel comes, touches, that creates the inundation, we forget everything. The rest of our life, we are remembering what we forgot. I mean, did you ask yourself why you have this? I mean, we just inquire everything. Everything is bothering us. And as a result of everything bothering us, we write books. We write commentary. We look at every word, especially words from the Torah. Wow, if that word made it into the blueprint of God in creation, in creating the world, that means that every word, every chant, every vowel is important. I mean, the one beautiful, you know that the cantillation of the words of the Torah came a lot later. First was the Torah. You know the Torah doesn't have vowels, and also did not come with music. But the cantillation was created later, and so listen to one word, and that cantillation sign appears 4 times in the Torah. 4 times. So that means what? Wow, only 4 times that musical note? Must be a meaning. So listen where it is, in one of the places. You remember Joseph. Joseph was a very handsome guy. He looked like his mother, Rachel. He gets to Egypt. He's working as a slave in the house of Potiphar. And Potiphar had a wife, gorgeous wife. One of, like the Trump's wives. I'm sure she was blonde. I don't know why Jews are attracted to blondes. Anyway, so comes the moment, and she's there, and she is trying to seduce him. He is smart enough to love God. He's also smart enough to know what will happen if the story comes out. And the musical note over the word thinking. So it says, Joseph, Vaitapek Yosef. Joseph was holding himself. So the musical note is, la 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 la. It's like it goes for 1 minute of a musical note because he was really not knowing what to do. He wanted, but he also knew that he needs to be loyal to God. And then, of course, she fabricates. That's how he ends up in jail. So she is an important character that helps him get to jail and later solve the dreams of Pharaoh. So every character in the Bible has a purpose. Those characters are not placed there by coincidence. That woman is the one that, in a way, helped to redeem all the Israelites from Egypt by putting him so close to Pharaoh. Okay. Continue, please.
In order to raise up any person, as we know, you need to go down to that person's run. That is why Abraham used to bring in guests, sharing food and drink with them, afterwards saying, "It is not my food that you are eating, but God's gift." It was through their attachment to things of this world, such as eating and drinking, that Abraham was able to bring himself to their level. As he ate and drank with them, he brought them under the wings of the
Shekhinah. Shekhinah is the feminine appearance of God. So the mystics created a world and a language that was very unique. Shekhinah is the feminine presentation of God in the world. It's actually the mother. It is possible that there are parallel to the role of Mary in Christianity, in the way there is the cult of Mary, and there is Shekhinah is the embracing appearance of God in a form of feminism. Shekhinah. Shekhinah means, by the way, in Hebrew, it ends with an A. A is a reference to God. Shekhinah, the dwelling spirit. A dwelling spirit that has a feministic attributes. Shekhinah. So what is he saying here? How was Abraham able to attract people around to follow him? You start with drink and food. You go to the lower animalistic appearance of what our needs are. Let's drink and eat. Basic. We know him as an amazing hospitality hotel. He invites those people to come to the tent, those people that came to announce the birth of Isaac. He didn't know who they are. In commentary, we know they are the three angels, which again appear later with the gifts. They came with no gifts to Abraham. They came with the blessing of Isaac. But immediately he ran, he cut the meat, he created a whole meal for them.
He told Sarah to.
He what?
He told Sarah to do that.
No, there was actually one of his servants.
Okay.
Yeah. Sarah in the story with Abraham is not at the level of Abraham. That's why he has to get up early in the morning and leave with the son without telling her. There was inability, that's part of the commentary of the mystics, for her to understand the awesomeness of the mission that is on Abraham. But then you have moments where Sarah understands better the mission than her husband. She's the one that brings the maid, the Egyptian maid, for Abraham to consort with her. So she understood what is happening. She is in a way responsible to the creation of other groups of people like Muslims. So she is in, but he is not capable of understanding that she has the power to understand everything that he does. But it says that when they left their land, they took all the souls that they made. So they were involved in conversion, both of them, husband and wife, earlier, and brought people to the faith. We can go a little bit more about this at a different time. Okay, go on.
That is why we speak of bringing guests in, and why hospitality to them is said to be greater than greeting Shekinah's face. In this way, you bind fallen things to their root, providing heaven's greatest joy.
Yeah, by welcoming people, by inviting people, by hospitality. That's where it starts, in the most basic way of Abraham's work. Continue. Next one, please. Come on.
So it was when Abraham set out to repair Hesed.
So Abraham's job was to repair love. There wasn't love enough in the world. People did not understand the place of love in the creation story. Go on.
Uplifting the negative form of love amid those nations among whom there lived holy souls.
So in every nation around, there were people that were righteous. But overall, the nations needed a lesson of what life is all about. Go on.
Then, too, he had to go down to their level. Of this, Scripture says, there was a famine in the land, and Abraham went down to Egypt.
Yeah, famine is what? Famine is a word garbed again. So what is really famine?
Emptiness.
Emptiness, beautiful. Famine doesn't have to mean famine, that there's nothing to eat. Famine, we have famine when we go to the lowest qualities of ours. The famine is individual too. When are we really in famine? When nothing works, when we don't have the strength, when our qualities are eroding, when there is a need for a fix inside of us. So don't take famine in the original meaning, which is no bread. Famine means emptiness of a quality. What quality? Love. There was a famine of love that people did not exhibit it. Continue.
This was a famine not for bread and a thirst, not for water, but to hear the word of Yahweh.
Yeah, Amos. Proof text. Proof text is the line that says, a famine not for bread and thirst, not for water. Amos, the prophet Amos, of course, many years later, but it doesn't matter for the commentator. It doesn't matter that Amos came after Abraham. It doesn't matter. The verse is a proof text to what they're trying to teach us. That the famine was not for bread or water. It's about God's words. That's really the famine that exists in our lives also. What do we do when we are hungry for God's word? Continue.
The qualities were very much fallen. Abraham sought to raise...
Abraham first sought.
Pardon me? Did I miss it?
It's okay. Abraham first sought.
Abraham first sought to raise up his own special quality, that of love, from its fallen state.
Abraham had problems. He couldn't raise himself in a place where he was living. What was that place known for? What? Idol worshiping. You can't do it there. Maybe sometimes you need to get out of where you are in order to discover the qualities that you can have. That was the answer for the question in the beginning. Why didn't God create a big nation where Abraham was? It was the wrong place. Sometimes we know we are in the wrong place with the wrong crowd, and we still stay there. How come?
It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfortable.
Sometimes we're also forced to. We can't leave.
Wow. That requires a whole conversation. Sometimes we are forced, we cannot leave. We want to leave and we are locked in our own place. We are prisoners inside of ourselves. But if we have the chance and we have the vision and we understand that this place is not a place I need to be, you need to leave. That's my life. At age 23, I went to a summer camp in Wisconsin. Never went back. So it's interesting that I discovered my Judaism in America and I wasn't able to do it in Israel. So I became a Jew in America. I became a Jew in America because there was no separation of church and state in Israel. I couldn't live anymore under the dark authority of Orthodox Judaism. So I came here to taste. It's amazing, this country of ours. Amazing. That's why I'm fighting constantly again for the separation of church and state. Because we Jews know what happened when a church took care of your life. And there are other religions that experience those kind of moments. So, I don't know, at the end of my life, I'll have to sit down and figure out, did I went to the right place? I definitely know for the high holidays, I go to the right place. I go to Kauai. That's definitely the right place. To be able to do services to 500 Jews in a place in Kauai, that's definitely, I was meant to do this. Anyway, continue please.
Of this, Scripture says, a man who takes his own sister,
That is chesed.
Hesed,
Yeah. Leviticus has a line. Now you know that even the word sister means love. Do you remember the Abraham in Egypt tells his wife what? Don't tell them you are my wife, tell them you are my sister. Wow. So Abraham was already mystic. Abraham used words, language that talked about love. We did not see it. We who are reading the Bible, every word in the Bible is a dress of other meaning. Just because we read the Bible in one way, understand in one way, that doesn't mean it's the only way to understand the Bible. The Bible has 70 faces, it says. On Mount Sinai, everyone understood the meaning of the covenant in their own capacity. That's why it's so important to study in a group, to be able to understand other understanding of the text. Continue.
this drives people crazy because people I know say, well, this says have sex with your sister. But you're saying, no, it means that it's just a way of saying that you look at another human being in a close spiritual proximity.
Beautiful, beautiful. Has nothing to do with marrying a sister. In a simple eye, it looks like the forbidden relationship. This mystical interpretation suggests, no, it's about love, about the importance of love in your life. Continue. The point is?
The point is that you must come to understand that even this love is a fallen fruit of the divine tree. The attributes of Hesed above.
Therefore,
Abraham described Sarah as his sister.
wow. So Abraham did not commit any crime. He described Sarah as his sister because we're trying to defend Abraham. How in the hell is Abraham suggesting for his wife to lie about this? So there's something wrong there. And by the way, that verse, that incident got so much commentary because the commentators of the Bible felt very uncomfortable. How can the patriarch, how can the progenitor of the religion be so callous about his relationship to his wife? So all the men that you sometimes blame them from being chauvinistic, worry about this. Worry about how is Abraham going to be accepted. So that's how they create a commentary. Okay, next paragraph. Let's push a little bit.
As he sought to raise them up, Scripture takes care to say, Abraham went down into Egypt, an act of descent and self-humbling, lowering himself to their realm so that he can be related to them in order to raise them up. The verse then goes on to say that Abraham went
Lakur Sham.
to dwell there. But this same word can also be translated as to be fearful there. Going down to that level demands a certain trepidation. You need to maintain great fear of heaven so that you do not become like them in their failing, making sure that the journey downward is for the sake of ascent on return.
Yeah, sometimes we need to go there. Sometimes we need to go to our Egypts. to be able to understand how to rise from there. Hopefully it's a short visit. But sometimes we never come out of our Egypt, out of the darkness. What qualities do we need to rise? Abraham had those qualities. He came out of there. He went back from Egypt after that incident, but he needed to go down there, to live there among them. Sometimes, in order to understand other people, we need to be there and to see what it is. The adoption of families from Syria, what is that all about? Why would we do that? Well, you go there, you help them, you learn about them. That's what the greatness of the tri-faith is all about. Really, being able to, I'm not suggesting going down, but I'm suggesting going there, to learn, to witness, to be able to discover what motivates, who are there, why are they doing what they're doing, learning, and then elevating the entire community. That's part of the question. And then the last paragraph, please. Let's finish strong.
That is what it means that God commanded Abraham to go forth from his land, so that he might make his name great. A person has to humble himself, becoming close to those he seeks to raise up. That way the border of the holy can be expanded and the love of God truly spread forth in the world, as fallen love is restored to its root. One who does this is all the more to be called a lover of God, making God beloved by many. This is the meaning of I will make you a great nation. By going forth, leaving your land, and proclaiming God's love, even in the fallen rungs, you become Abraham, my lover. This will make you a greater lover than you were before.
Wow. So what is our job, guys?
Love your neighbor.
Love your neighbor as yourself.
Without judging the neighbor. Without judging the neighbor. But we build gated communities. We don't want to see anyone here. How many times we really ask for a cup of sugar from our neighbors? So I grew up in Israel. Israel is all about apartment buildings. And we had 24 families in our apartment building growing up. And everyone knew everyone. There was a love in the building that is so missing sometimes from what I'm looking for here. Here we have houses, we have fences. Everyone lived in the same building. Some of you grew up this way, in buildings. Maybe you came from another place. But everyone knew, and my mother knew exactly when to hang the laundry and what day. Because if she did it on a different day, it will be all blue. Because there will be water dripping from the laundry of everyone. No one has a dryer in Israel. You put it, and it smells great. The smell of a fresh air of the clothes. But sometimes there was a neighbor that forgot what day they need to hang it, and my mother will go crazy. No! Pick up everything! No, you can't do it. The yells, the cries, but there was one community in that building, and I still remember every one of them. I know exactly where they lived, and what were the names of the kids. Love. That's what we need to do. We need to spread the love that we feel for God. We just need to share that love with other people. And sometimes going to them, moving to them, even if it's Egypt. Thank you.